Model United Nations trains today's students, tomorrow's leaders. Students who do a model UN would one day change the world. Rand Villanueva. A very good morning to one and all present here, respected dignitaries on and off the dais, esteemed guests, invitees, faculty members, and delegates. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the inaugural ceremony of the Model United Nations 2024, organized by KLE Law College, Bengaluru. I am Bhumika Ji, your host for today's event. This event serves as a dynamic platform for young minds to step into the shoes of diplomats, collaborate on pressing global issues, and hone their skills in negotiation, public speaking, and critical thinking. As we embark on this journey over the next 3 days, we look forward to witnessing insightful debates and impactful resolutions that reflect the true spirit of United Nations. Let's make this conference a memorable one. I now request Ms. Sahitya Ramesh Pujari from 3rd BA LLB to render the invocation song to seek the blessings of Almighty. Shri Gauri Sutta Siddhi Vinayaka Mangala Murti Ganaraya Shri Gauri Sutta Siddhi Vinayaka Mangala Murti Ganaraya Moshika Vahana Naga Vibhushana Moshika Vahana Naga Vibhushana Paramadaya Gana Shubhakaya Paramadaya Ghana Shubhakaya Shri Gauri Sutta Siddhi Vinayaka Mangala Murti Ganaraya Sarvakaladali Sarvakaryadali Modalige Ninnanu Pujisuta Sarvakaladali Sarvakaryadali Modalige Ninnanu Pujisuta Sarvara Sahajadi Bayasida Bayakiya Padevaru Ninnanu Dhyanisuta Padevaru Ninnanu Dhyanisuta Shri Gauri Sutta Siddhi Vinayaka Mangala Murti Ganaraya Shri Gauri Sutta Siddhi Vinayaka Mangala Murti Ganaraya Mangala Murti Ganaraya Mangala Murti Ganaraya. I would now like to invite Ms. Senior S, Assistant Professor and Faculty Convener of KLELCB 2024, to kindly deliver the welcome address and introduce the honorable guest.
Please bend, please bend.
Thank you, Bhumika. We take immense pride in hosting the 6th edition of the KLELCB MUN conference that is set to provide an unparalleled experience in literacy, debate, and learning. The theme this year, Faith, Strength, and Legacy, reflects our commitment to fostering a generation of debaters who shall rise above the expectations through deliberations on globally relevant issues. In this regard, we are set to host 10 dynamic committees ranging from UNSC, UNHRC, ECOSOC, to Karnataka Legislative Assembly, the Lok Sabha, amongst many others. Thus, I would now love to introduce our esteemed chief guest for the day, Professor Dr. M.P. Rajiv Gowda, sir. We are honored and privileged to welcome Professor Dr. M.V. Rajiv Gowda, sir, as our esteemed chief guest. Sir is a dynamic scholar, a seasoned policymaker, and a tireless advocate for youth empowerment. Sir hails from a family of freedom fighters and visionary leaders, and thus has inherited a deep sense of patriotism and service from very early on. Professor Dr. M.V. Rajiv Gowda, sir, was the Vice Chairman of the Karnataka Policy and Planning Commission with the rank of a Cabinet Minister from 2023-24 before contesting the Lok Sabha elections from Bangalore North. Sir was an Indian member of the Parliament from 2014 to 2020. Sir has represented Karnataka State and the Indian National Congress Party in the upper house, the Rajya Sabha. Sir has been the chairman of the Congress Party's research department. Sir was previously the convener of the Manifesto Committee for the same in 2019 and is currently also the national spokesperson. Professor Dr. Rajiv Gowda, sir, holds an MA in Economics from Fordham University and a PhD in Public Policy and Management from the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania. Sir was a postdoctoral fellow at the University of California, Berkeley. In addition, Sir has been a visiting scholar at the Center for Jurisprudence and Social Policy Law School, University of California. Sir has served as an associate professor at the University of Oklahoma. Sir has also been the coordinator interdisciplinary perspectives on the environment program at the university in 1999. Professor Dr. M.V. Rajiv Gowda, sir, has been Professor of Economics and Social Sciences at the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, where he also served as the chairperson of Center for Public Policy. Sir has in fact played a pivotal role in establishing the Center for Public Policy, mentoring bureaucrats, legislators, and women leaders through his groundbreaking programs. Sir was the brain behind designing and leading the Indian Women in Leadership program in order to train women politicians. Sir has been the director on the Central Board of the RBI and a Carnegie Council Global Ethics Fellow. Sir's most recent co-edited books include India's Risks, published by the Oxford University Press India in 2014. Sir has also held positions of Director, General Insurance Corporation of India. In addition, Sir has been the member of the Executive Council at the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development. Sir has been a noted columnist in leading publications and has written on several topics like governance, political process, analysis, economic growth, education system, electoral reforms. Professor Rajiv Gowda's sir's exemplary leadership, intellectual brilliance, and unwavering commitment to public service inspire us all indeed. So does happen to inspire us to strive towards excellence. His presence today as our chief guest is a beacon of hope for youth-driven leadership and meaningful global discourse as today's. On this note, I would request Dr. Vishnu Prasad sir to kindly hand over a sapling to Professor Dr. Rajiv Gowda sir as a mark of our respect. In addition, we have with us Dr. Anita M.J. Ma'am, Vice Principal and HOD of the PG Department of Law. I request Uday Simha sir to kindly hand over a sapling to Professor Dr. Anita Ma'am as a mark of welcome and respect. I extend a warm welcome to our Secretary General of this edition of KLELCB everywhere. I request Bhumika to kindly hand over a sapling to Mr. Dhawan. Once again, I extend a very warm welcome to all of the enthusiastic delegates, esteemed guests, secretariat, faculty members, student volunteers to this August event. I hope the event turns to be a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you. request our chief guest, Professor Dr. M.B. Rajiv Kauda, to kindly inaugurate the event by lighting the lamp. I request all the dignitaries to kindly join in. I request everyone to kindly raise.
Bro, can I sit? Can I sit? People sit. Tell the other guys to sit. Hey, not you. Tell those guys to sit. Tell those guys to sit. Them to sit. Sit. Hey, ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಅಲ್ಲ. You both sit. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಕುಂಟ್ರಿಸ್ಬೋದಣ್ಣ ಇದು ಹಂಗೆ ಕುಂಟ್ರಿಸ್ರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂತದ್ದು ಈ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ ಕೂರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು
We now request our chief guest, Professor Dr. M.B. Rajiv Kauda, former MP, Brand Bangalore Committee member, and Chairman of AICC Research Department, to kindly deliver the inaugural address. So, please.
Dr. Anita, Sudhavan, Bhumika, Horizontal, Xenia, and all our youngsters who are here today, and of course, my faculty colleagues. Such a pleasure being here. This is my first visit to KLE Law College. I'm very impressed with the size and scale and the impact that the college has been having already. And I think it has a bright future going forward. Talking about bright future, when I think of all of you sitting here, these very, very talented youngsters, I can think that the country has a bright future ahead of it. And I really, at some point, I must say that I'm a little envious of all of you. Because when I was in college, at your stage, we didn't have these kinds of organized competitions. We did have cultural festivals, debates, and a few opportunities to hone our skills. But this is the Modern United Nations framework takes things to a much more organized, systematic level. And gives you a chance to really engage in issues that matter in the world outside. It gives you a chance to research, to take on particular roles, represent particular countries and interests, and it gives you an opportunity to really grow in such wonderful ways. So I must say that you're all a very, very lucky generation, and urge you to make the best of it. So when you think about making the best of it, the same approach that you would have taken to the MUN is what I would urge you to take to the real world outside, which is systematic preparation, being professional in your attitude, discovering that you must be well prepared in order to convince others and to engage in dialogue, in debate, and negotiation to arrive at some kind of a solution. So those sorts of that professionalism is what you're picking up through these processes. That's something that I would urge you to take with you as you go forward into the world outside. And one, of course, teaches you all these things. Teaches you to speak well, teaches you to communicate and find ways to bargain and negotiate and not be hung up on only one particular position and things like that. So there's a lot of learning that's coming out of this whole experience, immersion that you're going through. But there are many things that one may not teach you as well. When I think of the world outside, a lot of what happens comes under the framework of something called soft power. Hard power is the size of your economy, how wealthy you are, how strong your armed forces are, all those sorts of things. But soft power is the ability to get your interests accomplished without actually having to, expend that many resources, right? When American movies and music has us all humming and attending and and possibly even changing our minds, that's Hollywood's soft power, basically convincing us about how to live life in one way or the other. It need not be Hollywood. It's even the platforms that social media has given us, which have changed the way we engage with one another and, of course, with the world outside. So all of these are examples of soft power. India has tremendous soft power as we're discovering. It could be in terms of our traditional practices like yoga, which are highly respected, and internationally, it could be the fact that where 30, 50 years ago, people used to think of India as a exotic nation of snake charmers and poor people. Today, when you say India, they think about highly qualified, possibly technical experts who can, transform the world, transform corporations, who can lead the biggest corporations in the world. And if you actually look at it, whether it is Google or Microsoft or IBM or, all these storied names in terms of global companies, they are headed by Indians like Sundar Pichai and Satya Nadella and others, right? Even more traditional industries like Pepsi were headed by Indra Nooyi, things of that sort. So when it comes to the brand image, as you might think of, all of those make a difference. All of those make a difference in a country's negotiating capability in terms of its ability to be trusted and to have its interests accomplished. So all of these things matter. And that's one dimension I think that may not come through in a one setting, but something to be aware of. Another feature, I think when you debate and argue, there's a tendency to want to win in such a manner that you're so convincing and successful. But in a lot of the world, there is a concept called face. You might win, but if you humiliate the other side, then they get very, very upset and angry. Okay, so they lose face, as the term goes. And so we have to be very, very conscious about how you engage in these negotiations. You don't, rub their faces in the ground, literally, just to, accomplish the goal that you have. I'll give you one example about how this works in international negotiations. Some years ago, there was some terrorist action in the northeast border, and so India sent its troops into Myanmar, as well Burma, for a surgical strike, and it was very successful. And then our leadership made a lot of noise about that. Okay. Now, surgical strike against Pakistan is different. Myanmar, we don't have any hostile relationship, or nor are we trying to take revenge. But if you stand up and start saying we did the surgical strike in their territory, then their leadership looks back, loses face, right? It's as if they can't protect their own borders, from even a friendly neighbor, right? So all those nuances are aspects that are not often communicated in this very competitive setting that you're all going to be part of. But keep that in mind as you go later on into life in general. The other things, one of the other reasons I like to engage with all of you is some honors have come and work with me over the years. But the reason is because you're all engaged in paying attention to the world around us, okay, and what's happening. And it is actually a highly dynamic, potentially catastrophic world around us. Right? What do I mean by that? Just take 3-4 dimensions, right? On the economy, we used to have tremendous globalization. You had low-cost shipping and production, and global supply chains, etc. And now we seem to be entering a post-globalization era. Mr. Trump has just got elected in America, and he's threatening all kinds of retaliatory tariffs and God knows what else. So the whole stable global international trade system that we've gotten used to is potentially under threat. Whether it's beneficial to India or not, we will see. But these are the kinds of challenges that are emerging right on the economic front. If you want to think about the international health, right? We've just emerged in our, all of us are sitting here, the lucky ones who survived the great pandemic, the COVID pandemic. And what did that teach us? That when it comes to, diseases of that sort, there are no borders, there are no boundaries. And it also taught us that there are no morals of taking care of the poor or anything like that. The rich countries hoarded vaccines and didn't really supply them as well as they should have to poorer countries. Right? India was doing a little bit of that. Certainly, there was a lot of global balance, as if the rich people's lives are more valuable than the rest of humanity. So that's another example. And even as we speak, are you aware that there are one or two major potential pandemic threats emerging? Anyone? In Africa, there's something called Mpox that is emerging. That's something that's worrisome. It's been contained. 2-3 months ago, we were a little more worried. But right now in the United States, there is something called avian flu. This is from dairy cattle. It's potentially spreading to humans. And it was a variant of this that killed millions of people years ago. So, and right now, given that the United States is in this whole denial of vaccines and everything else, we have no idea how responsibly they could deal with an issue of this sort. Okay, and so this is something that we having just gone through that nightmare of COVID. I hope that we'll find some sensible way of preventing this from getting out of hand. But that's another example of where global cooperation is needed. Politically, of course, the world is filled with conflicts of various kinds. You have the Ukraine war, see what's the Middle East. It's hard to keep track of who's fighting against who, right? There's Israel, in my view, committing genocide in Gaza, but triggered by the terrorist attack by Hamas. And you have bombing in Lebanon, you have some other chaos in Syria, you have the Houthi rebels, and it's just quite a minefield in that part of the world. And it's not new. These things, the Middle East has been quite unstable, but that's also the source of a substantial portion of our oil imports. And it has implications for all of us in terms of our day-to-day life and our cost of living, etc. And of course, does anyone, if I say COP29, does that strike a bell? Anyone knows what that is? Just raise your hand, somebody, and tell me. COP29, you heard of it? Not police constable number 29 in the local station. Go ahead. Where did they meet? Baku in Azerbaijan. Yeah, Azerbaijan. Yeah. So basically, there is this other threat that affects everybody: climate change. And countries have been trying to do the equivalent of months for many, many years. COP29 is actually the 29th annual meeting to make some progress on that agenda, right? And basically, there again, you can't say that this is something that's happening somewhere else, we are going to be immune from it, because it's changing. Already now we are experiencing changing climate patterns. We are seeing severe storms with tremendous intensity that people drown, you have the landslides in Wayanad, that sort of change that we're seeing. And none of us are going to be immune from this. Okay. So given all these, every dimension globally, there is so much work that needs to be done to work out some kind of coordinated response. And there, the organization that was supposed to be doing all this, which you are modeling here, the United Nations and its bodies, have not fully fulfilled the promise that they had in 1945, right? And so it's not clear what is this global regime, what is going to bring us all together and help us resolve our problems. Anyway, these are issues for you to discuss and debate. I forgot to ask what were the main themes of the 3 days that you're going to be spending on this Model United Nations conference. But I'm sure that you will all really engage with these issues with tremendous preparation and wonderful research, because those things are right there, and it gives you a chance to play roles. And when you play a role, when you represent a country, you're developing something called empathy. We say, walk in their shoes. You will understand where they sit and why they stand and what stand they take on certain issues, etc. So all of that is something that you're going to experience as part of this whole exercise. So I really wish you all very well. Go out there and maintain the same professionalism, engagement with global issues. Next time I say COP29, I expect everyone to raise their hands. And then, of course, don't stop right here. There are also wonderful careers in public service, in making a difference to society. And that's something that we should keep thinking about, because all of us over here are the privileged. Those of us who have good education and an opportunity to learn from some amazing teachers and institutions that nurture us. And it's imperative that we also think about those who are falling behind. There are millions of them, and devote some portion of our lives to making those people and their futures better in different ways. I'm sure you'll do that, and I wish you all the very best in these next 2-3 days of deliberation. Have a wonderful set of discussions and debates, and all the very best today and the rest of your lives. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful words. I would now like to call upon Ms. Gargi Srivastava, Charge Affairs of KLELCB 2024, to introduce the executive board members and hand over the gavel.
Good morning, respected chief guest, faculty advisors, and my dearest delegates. I am Gargi Srivastava, and it is with great honor that I stand here before you to welcome the very backbone of this Model United Nations, our executive board members. These individuals have been chosen for their exemplary skills, tact, diplomacy, and dedication to fostering impactful discussions. Now, as they step forward to receive their gowns, they also accept the responsibility of guiding their committees towards meaningful resolutions and ensuring that every voice in the room is heard. The responsibility indeed being immense. I request our honorable chief guest to please do the honors. Let us now begin. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Aditya Prakash Nair and Mr. Sunil Parekh, Senate President, and Mr. Vishal Rathod, the Director of the United Nations Security Council.
ಸರಿಸಿದ ನಾವು ನಂಬರ್ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ನಂಬರ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳು. ಓಕೆ ಮಚ್ಚಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ಐತೆ, ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ ಡ್ಯಾಪ್ ಬಿದ್ದುಬಿಟ್ಟೈತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಚೂರು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸ್ತಾ? ಸರಿ ಬಿಡ. ಹಾಂ ಹೌದಾ, ಸರಿ.
Thank you. We have with us Mr. Aditya Krishna and Mr. Zaid Sharif, the joint co-chairperson along with Mr. Vishal and the executive board members for the inauguration of his address. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Siddharth Bandal, the chairperson, Mr. Dhanush Tadapalli, and Mr. Parthiv P. Mehta, the vice chairperson, the executive board members, and the economic and social council. Thank you, Parthiv. For international press corps, we have the guests in the circuit with us. Mr. Arun Prasad, International President, Mr. Anish Bhattacharya, Photography Division, and Mr. Akshay Deepan, the Associate Editor. As all of you might know, one of our flagship committees is Securities and Exchange Board of India. We have with us Mr. Aditya Sharma, the chairperson, Mr. Samarth Murthy, the vice chairperson, and the other members. I believe the next is one of our favorite companies in the whole secretariat. For the United Nations Human Rights Council, please welcome Mr. Aryan Sood, the chairperson, Mr. Harish Shah, the vice chairperson, and Mr. Rashmi, the rapporteur. Another one of our flagship committees, one in which each of us have poured our hearts and souls into, the Karnataka Legislative Assembly. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Alan Kosar, the Speaker, and Mr. Bala Nayak, the Secretary of KLE. With us here today is Mr. Soumya Das, the Speaker, Mr. Prajwal Rani, the Deputy Speaker, and Mr. Shabbat Kanuri, the Executive Board members of the illustrious Lok Sabha. Another one of our global initiatives is the National Commission for Women, the executive board of which consists of Mr. Shubhit Saha, the chairperson, Ms. Ajay Bhagat, the vice chairperson, and Ms. Mia Abdul, the rapporteur. Finally, our specialized crisis committee, the committeers. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Vishwavasan Chairperson, Sri Ramakrishnan, and Mr. Siddharth Bandal, the executive board members of the same. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Your role is pivotal in shaping the discourse, ensuring inclusivity, and ensuring that The discussion remains meaningful. With this, we wish you all the best and best of luck for the incredible journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Gayatri. I now request Dr. Anita M.J., Head of Postgraduate Department of Law and Vice Principal of KLE Law College, Bengaluru, to kindly deliver the presidential address.
Good morning, all. Respected Professor Dr. Rajiv Gola, sir, MEN Secretary General Mr. Dhawan, EB members, convener, my teacher, Venkat sir, secretariat members, staff, and students. This is sixth edition of MEN conference of our institution. On the basis of our earlier MEN experience, I want to share certain things. As you all know, MEN is more than an academic exercise. It is a miniature of national and global stage wherein you happily engage and enjoy debate on various international issues. Next 3 days, I'm very sure you are going to enjoy these heated debates to prove your point, maybe with regarding some burning international issues, like maybe as Sir rightly pointed out, maybe it is present scenario wherein issue of peace and security of the world, or maybe it is human rights issues, maybe it is economic imbalance in the world. Yes, I'm sure that you are going to try to prove your point. But remember, this conference is definitely a platform for learning international burning issues. But at the same time, remember that this is going to give you a platform to learn art of diplomacy and the power of compromise. So, as Sir also pointed out, be humble. Understand the other state's point of view. Every country is having its own problems. And that's why let go your ego. Wherever necessary, compromise. Because sometimes compromise is also very essential. Don't humiliate the other state. And as Sir rightly pointed out, many a time the brand image also helps you in debating and also helps you in negotiation. Make best use of that. Whichever country you are representing, make best use of your brand image. And one more thing I want to bring here. Remember that diplomacy is finding common ground, even when it seems difficult. Many a time, it seems difficult to compromise. But as you know, the very purpose of United Nations is bringing cooperation between the countries, bringing peace between the countries. MEN experience or the exercise you do here, though it is simulated, it is not trivial. I'm confident that the solutions you generate here, you make here, definitely contribute the success of conference, MUN conference, and at the same time, it will inspire you to become more engaged global citizen. So make best use of the opportunity. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. I now call upon Mr. GM to deliver the Secretary General's address.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor M.V. Rajgopal, sir, Ms. Dr. Anita M.J. ma'am, Executive Board members, delegates, faculty members, and my fellow mates of KLELCB 2024. It's my privilege and an absolute delight to be in presence of Professor Dr. Rajgopal sir today. He's one of the people I truly look up to. Despite having reached unimaginable heights, still came back to his homeland and chose to serve his people, something that is quite rare today. And now coming to myself, I would like to share my MA journey with you all. My MA journey started with my first year of law. I joined a workshop which was organized by our senior members. This was Sneha, Suresh, and Shagul. That was that was the first time I ever heard about MUN. And after I attended the workshop, I attended, I joined to the volunteer group, and they were giving some volunteering work like from Google Forms and conducting screening. And that time where I met Mr. Alja Prakash Naik, and it was initially very scared and intimidated to speak with Naik because of my extreme social anxiety, and he was my senior also. And uh, and then we started working with and became comfortable and learned many things from Nayak. And it was just me and Nayak in the committee. Then after our seniors there, and I was only handling the technical parts of MUN, just about Google Forms and conducting screening. And I didn't really know about MUN much. Then we during one screening, I really liked the topic of the one of the agendas, and it was about privacy, and that day I felt like I had my own points to put forth about the topic, and I asked Nai if I could do a screening, and I had no interest to attend the conference, just I want to give screening and deliberate on the topic. Later, few days, again Nai pushed me to attend Christmas conference, and that was my first conference. It was an international press. I delegated as an international press member, and it allowed me to take a good overview of how all the committee runs, because I used to go to all the committees and well, and I learned all the procedures. And this when we thought of resuming back to our inter-MUN. Having gone through a break because of COVID, we were a little apprehensive about it. So we experimented with an interim one, and it was a big success. We founded a budding and Mansour here at KLE. Throughout the organizing of MUNs, I personally learned a lot and was able to contribute more and more each day. From just creating Google Forms to being an Secretary General of KLELCB 2020 to having found a brother and mentor in me. And this has been my MBA journey. Months of more than 300 members. It has been delight to watch the MBA culture grow in KLE Law College. One of these gathering was with our beloved principal, Professor Dr. J. Madhukarjuna, Vice Principal Dr. Nanta M.J. ma'am, Accuracy Coordinator Dr. Manoj Kumar B.R. and most importantly, our faculty coordinator, Ms. Zinia S., whose unwavering support has helped us build this mammoth of a committee and conference. A special note of appearance goes to our executive board members who are here from all over the country to guide unguided delegates. And I remember Parthiv was my first chair in minutes of the committee. And when on first day I did not speak anything because he knew me from Bitsman Goa. He supported me to speak and he made me comfort. Then I started doing more. And and seeing him as a member of executive board member for our own conference, it truly has been a journey. Thank you all. A note of gratitude to our ex-secretary for everything they have taught us and for leaving us with an unbreakable legacy. And a massive thank you to our entire secretariat for the work they have put into this conference. Today, Today's site is a testament to the efforts they have put in the past 8 months. So, thank you, team. Lastly, a few points to delegates at KLELCB 2024. The one thing we never compromise on is the quality of the conference. We have recruited the most competent executive board member from throughout the nation with the most contemporary issues for agenda. I would recommend that this conference be taken up as more than just a competition and as an opportunity to come together and address the global concern, to make changes and to be better, and to move towards the utopia we so dream of. It is my true honor to have been entrusted with the responsibility of heading this conference, and I couldn't be more grateful and proud of my secretary. And the most exciting part, I, Dhawan GM, Secretary General of KLELCB, declare this conference open. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhawan. I now invite Mr. Tadipal Director General of KLELCB 2024 to render the vote of thanks.
Number for
Greetings, everyone. As a Director General for the 6th edition of KLELCB Annual, I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. As William Arthur Wood rightly said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. Today, I take this opportunity to express my deepest sense of gratitude and appreciation to all those who made this event such a resounding success. To begin, on behalf of KD Law College Bengaluru, the students and the participants, I'd like to thank our chief host, Professor Rajiv Patel sir, who spared his time from his busy schedule to grace this session. I would like to request Dr. Mohan sir, Associate Professor of Law, to please present a moment to this as a token of gratitude. Thank you, sir. Now I place on record our gratitude to our principal, Professor Dr. J. Mallikarjuna sir, in his absence here, for his generous support for this event. Next, I would like to thank our beloved Vice Principal, Ma'am, Dr. Anita MG, for her presence and guidance. My heartfelt gratitude to our eminent committee convener, Ms. Zinia Ma'am, for her constant support. Last but not least, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the executive board members and the participants in making this event a resounding success. Thank you. We now come to the inaugural ceremony. I wish a good luck to all the delegates. I request everyone to kindly stay.